All right, slope is known by a couple different names, so I want to talk about that first. Typically, we just see the word slope, but sometimes they will also call it the constant of proportionality. Do not just put COP, because on ISTEP they call it the constant of proportionality, and I see every year 7th graders mess up on it because they're not saying the word slope. And if they said the word slope on ISTEP, people would be like, oh yeah, I know how to do this. But they say constant of proportionality, and people go, I don't even know what that is. So I want to make sure that everyone knows that it means slope. You could also call it the rate of change. So slope is a type of ratio that is showing the change in two quantities. Okay, that's what a ratio is. And a rate is a type of ratio. Okay? So the first way we're going to find slope is if you're given information in a table. So let's say that we have, so this is for a table. Let's say we have some information about the marching band. And the marching band, the amount of time in minutes they march versus the distance in feet. The time they march in minutes versus the distance in feet. Let's say in 2 minutes, the distance they go is 520. Oh, my board has been kind of crazy today. Yeah. In 3 minutes, it's 780 feet. In 4 minutes, it's 1,040 feet. And what I want to know is the rate of speed, okay? Whenever I'm finding a rate, especially something called a unit rate, you want it so that it's over 1. How many out of 1? So we are going to find the feet for 1 minute. How do you think we would find that feet for 1 minute? All right, so you could just do 520 over 2. So 520 feet in 2 minutes. And again, we want to know for 1 minute. So what we'd be doing here is just 520 divided by 2. And that's going to give us 260 feet in 1 minute. Again, you try this one. We're going to talk about an airplane's descent. They're your notes, so you write what you want to write. The time in minutes versus the elevation, and that's going to be in feet. Now, it's just coincidence that both of these examples are minutes and feet. It could be anything, okay? A rate is 2 different quantities, though, 2 different units of measurement. It's just that these 2 examples are minutes and feet. So after 2 minutes, the plane is going to be at 29,000 feet. After 5 minutes, the plane's going to be at 27,500 feet. And after descent means down. And 12 minutes, it's going to be at 24,000 feet. Because a plane can't descend too quickly or the passengers would get sick. Okay? It would not be good. That's a little bit different. Well, you hit the ceiling like it hurts your stomach. And have you ever been on a plane when there was turbulence? Yes, it's not good. So you've heard like G-force and stuff like that where like you kind of... You can use any of these, okay? I'm going to go ahead and use the 29,000 and the 2. 29,000 feet in 2 minutes. And if I want to know for 1 minute, again, I'm dividing it by the 2. $14,500 feet. Just made sense? What we're... Okay. Okay, we're just dividing by 2. That's how you find a unit rate. So finding unit rates is an important skill, not just in algebra, but also the regular 7th graders are learning about unit rates as well. Okay, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to do this from a graph. Now, I'm not going to have you make graphs in your notebook, but I'm going to have some examples up here in just a second. So if you're looking at a graph, I first want you to identify if the slope is positive, negative, 0, or undefined. So just looking at the picture, you should be able to determine if it's positive, negative, 0, or undefined. Okay? We're going to watch a very short video of a man called Slope Dude. And it's a very interesting video. But it'll help you remember positive, negative, 0, and undefined. Because it's super important for you to be able to recognize those things. So, we're going to watch Slope Dude. The Adventures of Slope Dude, in fact.
Puff, puff, positive as he goes up the mountainside. Puff, puff, positive. Puff, puff, positive. Now he's at the top. He was puff, puff, positive all the way up the mountain. But now he can look forward to the downhill. On the way down the mountain, he says, nice, negative, nice, negative, nice, negative. And now at the top. It was puff, puff, positive all the way up the mountain, but now he can look forward to the downhill. On the way down the mountain, he says, nice, negative, nice, negative, nice, negative. And now, after the downhill, he's in for the hardest part of the ski route, the long, flat part. He says, this is 0 fun. This is 0 fun. This is 0 fun. As he finishes the flat part, he doesn't see well ahead, and all of a sudden he comes to the edge.
How many times have I said don't touch it? You're going to end up back there where you belong. So we all said that this is positive, okay? You want to find 2 points on the line. Now, a line has an infinite number of points, but you want to focus on 2 of the points. So this has 2 that are pointed out to you, okay? So if from this point to that point, we first are going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's a positive 4 because we went up. And then over 1, 2, 3. So the slope is a positive 4/3, okay? Because you're going up and right. If we were going to find the slope by going down and right, then it would be a negative slope. Antonio, you have a question? All right, you want to leave slope. If slope is an improper fraction, leave it improper. Never, ever, ever write slope as a mixed number, okay? Never write slope as a mixed number. All right, so let's look at this one. So you can see in this one, they don't have 2 points located for you. We know this is what type of slope. This is another positive one, okay? This is another positive one. So you need to find 2 points. I'm going to go over here in quadrant 1, here's a point, here's a point. So it would just be 1 over 1. Up 1, over 1. So 1 over 1, which we could just write as a whole number of 1. Okay? So if you can turn it into a whole number, that's fine. You just don't want any mixed numbers. So this one would be what? Positive what, though? What would it be? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3/4. This one would be a nice negative, right? Now, again, I always want you to go up or down first. Your top number is going to be how many up or down. So to get to this point, again, we're going from left to right. We're going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we only have to go over 1. So negative 4 over 1 can be rewritten as just negative 4. Ask me questions. No one else talk unless you have a question. Because you're going from left to right. So the first point you get to is this one, and then that would be the one that's further to the right. Okay? All right. Now, 0, remember we said 0, he said this is 0 fun. So 0 slope is just a horizontal line. Okay? And undefined slope, yeah, the worst curse word, we sure heard that. Undefined slope is straight down when he fell off the mountain, okay? So 0 slope is straight across because it's 0 fun, just walking or skiing on flat ground. And undefined is falling off a cliff. This is impossible to happen because what happens here is you get a number over 0. And it's impossible to have a denominator of 0, right? You can't have 5 out of 0. Okay, you can't have 5 out of 0. This would be 0 out of 5, which is 0, okay? But if 0 is in the denominator, you can't do this. This is impossible. All right. The last thing I want to talk about then is ordered pairs. I'm almost done. So the formula for finding slope, by the way, is abbreviated M. I don't know why it's abbreviated M, but it is. Maybe think of mountains like you're skiing over mountains. It's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That is the slope formula. It's going to be okay. We're going to start with easy positive numbers. This is my recommendation, especially until you get really good at doing this. So I doubt anyone's there yet. Okay. You might have gotten good at doing it last year, but it's been a whole year since you've done it. My recommendation is to label these first. So we all know that when you have an ordered pair, the first number is your x, okay? And the second number is your y, correct? Now the 1 and the 2 just corresponds to the first ordered pair, x1 and y1, and the second ordered pair, x2 and y2. So I highly recommend labeling them. So just like we did on math review, when we have things labeled and we have our formula, we're just substituting these things into the formula, okay? So I want y2 minus y1. y2 is 5 minus y1 is 6. y2 minus y1. Then you're going to do x2 minus x1. x2 is 2 minus x1 is 4. Okay? So all I did was substitute into the formula. And now you need to subtract. Be careful with your integer rules. 5 minus 6 is 2 minus 4 is. What happens when you have two negatives? It becomes a positive 1/2. If you only have one negative, the whole thing's negative. But if you have two negatives, the whole thing becomes positive. Okay? Can we do one more example of this before you get your... Are you sure you don't... Oh, we're not watching that video. No, we're not watching the video again. So sorry. Yes. I would recommend not watching it on your school computer, that's for sure. Shh. Try this one. This one has negative numbers in it, so it's going to make it a little bit more challenging. Shh. Again, I highly recommend you labeling them before you get started. Shh. I apologize if anyone's never heard that word before. Top. Y's need to be on top. -4. Here's another thing people mess up. Minus -3. -4 minus -3. Look what happens. There becomes two negative signs right next to each other. 5 minus 2. See why I didn't give you all the cups yet? -4 plus 3. Okay, that becomes -4 plus 3. And 5 minus 2. There's your answer.